have been given chance to talk about my research AI enabling fraud detection in Sri Lankan e-commerce payment gateway. This paper discusses essential problems from the digital economic illustrated how machine learning can revolutionize payment security in emerging economics. The problems. I would like to start with the painting of the pictures urgency of the research. The government has wrapped up the promotion of the digital payment through the digital payment promotions a campaign which has seen a 34% transaction growth in Sri Lankan since uh, 2020. Nonetheless, an increases also has been since the site as payment fraud in expected increasing by 41% 2021 to 2024. It is considerable human tolls. On average, a victim lose around LKR 128,000 uh, each incident, which about USD 430, which is considerable financial burden. Business-wise, our financial industry has been spending 1.2 billion a year processing fraud management worst of all conventional rule-based system performance at 60% detection of with 5 to 10% false positive leaving security gap and lower customer experience. Mm. Research motivations. Yeah, reason why Sri Lankan is unique is because of our mobile first ecosystem having mobile penetrations level of the 134% yet only 15% of people using credit card. We have bypassed the develop of the old model of payment domestic service such as WebEx Pay and Pay Here and Dialog Genie have made the payment environment very unlikely in Western market where most of the students studies in fraud detections are done. The government sees this potential and they are spending 1 billion Sri Lankan rupees has been set aside to develop the AI part of the national digital economy strategy 2013. These studies would give the direct contribution to the visions of, as it will be help diverse practical AI solutions to our vendors with our various market condition we in and sims which can continues most of our e-commerce market begin especially susceptible to the effect of the frauds. Mm, Research objective. The main purpose of my research was clearly as well since I was develop and implement AI-based fraud detection model, which is specially tolerate applied to the Sri Lankan e-commerce payment gateway. I organized this is five important goals. The first of which was examine unique local fraud trends, followed by the creation of the effective machine learning model which were random forest and GS boost and logistic regression model. I also critically compared the performance in relation standard the system, evaluate real-time processing to the test whether actually integrate into the payment gateway was possible, and develop a detailed implementations plan that could be used to implement the practice. uh, my next slide. Research question. This studies had four research question. This being with the we should find our particular fraud patterns in our local situation. Construct with the global pattern. Second, identifying the algorithms um, that give best compromise between accuracy and computational cost to be able to run the real time. The third that need to compare the difficult different difficulties in the integrates with current payment infrastructure and still be able to process transaction within the same time. Lately, benchmarking against current rule-based system in the rate the of detection as well reduction in the false positives. My next slide. Yeah, my next slide is a literature review. In my literature review, I found out that there was transaction had traditional rule-based system that had been an accuracy of the 60% uh, to the machine learning method that had improvement 23%, that deep learning can provide further 15 increase in case of complicated trends but in demand intensive computational resources. This gap that I identify was that there is a lack of research specifically focus on the challenging on the emerging market, and especially the mobile first context such as one of the Sri Lankan current research on the payment behavior internationally, lack of particularities in term of payment behaviors, regulatory frameworks, uh, and infrastructure limitations. To the extent these research will be contribute to the address that major gap and come up the solutions that are the relevant to the Sri Lankan market economic realities. My next topic, methodology overview. I have utilized the mixed method research designing comprehensive uh, uh, for district phrases. Their first phrase involved the comprehensive data collected in Sri Lankan e-commerce platform, the Lola and W. Thomas and Sons, and A for anything, yielding 400 anonymous transaction record in that reflect realistic fraud patterns while addressing privacy concern inherent to the finance studies. In phase 2, the developed optimized three machine learning algorithm through the systematic hyperparameters, uh, tuning the continuous primary focus. In phase 3, there was several performance assessment code in the verifying graph, with whereas phase 4 were out feasible implementation references. This style was academic as well as a practical. Next. Yeah. Data characteristics. Uh, the Sri Lankan e-commerce data set provide the high suitable with 4,000 K hours selected transaction and realistic fraud rate from the 0.13%. The transaction type distributions closely mirrors Sri Lankan digital payments patterns. 33.8% payment transactions, uh, 35.2% cash out transaction, and 8.4% transaction transfer transactions, and 22% cash in transactions, and 0.7% debit transaction, reflecting the mobile first payment ecosystem prevalent in the local market. The 16 engineered features were specially designed to capture the fraud indicate within mobile payment behavior characteristic of Sri Lankan e-commerce environment. The key pre-processing techniques including strategic was sampling in addressing class imbalance challenging while perceiving authentic fraud patterns, and standard scalar normalizations to optimize algorithm performance across the diverse uh, further set collected of the three of partner performance. My next uh, my next topic is a model uh, model performance result. The outcome were higher than what had been uh, anti-capted in all models. Random forest reach perfect percentage, 99.99%, and none of the false positive outcome, which is remarkable in the fraud detection. It's however limit in that processing speed is at 27%. Uh, Predictions per second, making a realistic high value transaction analysis. ST Boost provide the best trade-off at 99.96% accuracy, then 76.72%, and most importantly 333 predictions per second in can be deployed the real times. Logistic realistic with lower uh, precision of the 4.5% had good read speed of the 844 predictions per second. This conformed to the initial screening of the transactions. Each model achieved a dynamic setups. The conventional 16% detective rate of the uh, paradigm shift in the capacity of fraud detection when compared to the conventional 16% detection scale. Each of model process light year wave. Okay, my next slide. Future importance analysis. The analysis for future provider engrossing view the in Sri Lankan trending of in fraud, balance changing or urging was that most important at 46.1%, which implied an account balance multiplying may with many of the fraud vectors is mobile payment. Error balance origin 11.5 indicate that checking of the transaction consistently is the important element. All this is in the line with what happened in Sri Lankan with mobile first tactics, as the balance manipulates have been factor that the fraudsters have used. The dimension signified of the common features such as amount of transaction imply that we have very distinct fraud patterns that are not much akin to the global one, and these assumptions proves the main argument of the localized solutions. Real-time processing performance. The analysis of deployability provide that they are evidence case of the every model given the logistic regression taker 1.19 ms to generate prediction. It's in ideal to serve a high volume initial screening that responds to of the SG boost. They are showing 3.03 ms facilities calculate real-time analysis in regular transaction, although the processing speed random for us 36.78 ms. It's slower than the others parameters. It is appropriation when it is come details analysis expensive of the PCS transaction in implies to the two-level deployment strategy that should involve maximum resources allocations based on the varied degrees of the risk. My next slide. Business impact analysis in the larger economics considerations, that's annual losses random forest can forestall because of the frauds. 2.4 billion with zero cost fall positives will be achieved that with more than 200% ROI in the first year. SG Boost also declined comparable for avoidance at LKR 2.39 billion, whilst the minimal fall positive cost are the LKR 490 4,940. In addition to the financial indicator, there are also operational improvements such as the 37% better performance compared to the role-based system and 95% reducing in the false positives. This implement implies that number of real transactions only stop will the decrease in millions of times, enhancing the customer experience. The same time, enhancing security considerably. Practical implementation demonstrations. Actually, I built these great screen dashboards to show real-world application to the features and real-time detection of fraud with instant risk assessment, interface of the multimodal comparisons and business integrates analysis with the comprehensive ROI. Application has been localized to Sri Lankan with current LKR integrated in local method of payment in real world visible as a performance testing demonstrates sub-second response time and to able to scale up the payment gateway volume transactions. Um, Next slide. Implementation recommendations. I offer gradually 12-week deployment plan. One is the concern of the infrastructures, installations and compliance. The second is to put the SD boost into action so that performance in the balance but limit testing transaction is done. Phase 3 is including implementations of the entire multi-tier system have capabilities of continuous learning. This main success factors will be stakeholders trainings arguments with the regulation of the central banks and constant model validations. The methodology practice has less risk without the comprehensions of the success implementations. Mm. Okay, my final part is conclusions. To this, the studies contribute in some important way. It's the most extensive AI-based fraud detection research, especially specifically applied to the Sri Lankan context e-commerce, which has provided effective as it has over 97% detection rate with lower false alarms. Above all, its providers and accountable and implementation ready to solutions that's proven to have business value. Further research trend toward deep learning in problematic pattern deductions, real-time adaptation algorithms, combinations borders, fraud detection network, and end-to-end regularly comprehensive structures. The final effect in enhance of the digital payment security of the Sri Lankan economic with involved of AI that can prove the digital economy shift in our country and safeguard consumers and business against transfer type of frauds. Thank you very much to kind attentions. Thank you. Finally, these are my references.